Hello, farmers, and welcome to my farm, a farm that I started completely from zero. If you missed the earlier progress, don't worry. Everything is already on the channel, and you can watch it anytime you like. And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe and leave your reaction. It really helps the channel grow, and it makes the farmer a little happier, too. So today is another working day here on the farm, and as usual, there's plenty to do. No big dramatic moments, just real progress, step by step. And sometimes that's exactly what farming is all about. The first task today is continuing the work on our construction area. I've been preparing a large plashatka for future development, and the main goal here is to level and shape the terrain properly. Because if you want to build something serious, the ground underneath needs to be ready first. This place will eventually become the home of our future mill, a proper production building where we'll process our crops and turn them into something more valuable. But before that happens, the land needs to be flat, organized, and ready for construction. So we continue leveling the ground, moving soil, adjusting the terrain, smoothing out bumps and hills that probably existed here long before I arrived. It's not the fastest job in the world, but every pass with the equipment makes the area look more and more like a real industrial site instead of a wild field. Little by little, the space starts to take shape. You can already imagine where buildings will stand, where trucks will drive, and where production will happen in the future. And speaking of trucks, that brings us to the next big decision today. At some point, you realize that tractors can do a lot of things, but not everything, especially when you start dealing with heavier materials like stone and construction resources. So today, I decide to invest in a dump truck, a proper work machine designed to transport stone and other heavy materials around the farm. It's not the cheapest purchase, but it's one of those upgrades that immediately makes life easier. The moment you drive a dump truck for the first time, you realize something important. This machine means business. Big engine, strong frame, and a large bed ready to carry whatever the farm needs moved from one place to another. Now we finally have the right tool for transporting stone and construction materials, which will be extremely useful as the farm continues to grow and new buildings appear across the land. Of course, farming isn't only about construction and heavy machinery. Sometimes the day takes you somewhere completely different. As the sun slowly moves toward the evening, I decide to take care of another task that has been waiting for a while. Near the paper factory, there's a field where white clover has been growing nicely. And instead of letting it sit there forever, today feels like a good moment to harvest it. Since I don't own the equipment for this yet, I rent a mower. Sometimes renting machines is the smartest move, especially when you only need them for a short job. So we hook up the mower and head over to the field near the factory. The clover field looks great, bright, thick, and ready to be cut. And mowing it is actually one of the most relaxing jobs on the farm. Just drive forward, watch the clean lines appear behind the machine, and enjoy the calm rhythm of the work. No rushing, no chaos, just steady progress. The field slowly transforms from a sea of white flowers into neat rows of cut grass. It's simple work, but it's satisfying. And it's always nice to finish the day with something that looks this clean and organized. Moments like this remind me why I enjoyed building this farm from the ground up. One day you're clearing land, the next day you're driving a brand new truck, and by evening you're calmly mowing clover next to a paper factory. Step by step, the farm grows bigger, more organized, and more capable. New buildings are coming, new equipment is arriving, and every episode brings us a little closer to the vision of a fully developed farm. Thank you all for watching, and sorry if I don't talk too much. Less words, more work. Enjoy the rest of the video. Tractor emoji.
I'm buying your truck. Oh yeah? It's not cheap. Name your price, I'm serious. All right, let's talk. You sure about this beast? It eats gas like candy.